It's like, my goodness, it's better for the customer to cancel. Hey, my little newsies. I am here to do this first video of my Uber life. This is my story times that I'm adding to my channel. They're going to be short story times, but there are story times of me while I'm Ubering or stories that I may hear. So, my first story, I have many. I think I'm going to go with the one that just happened just a little while ago. So, I get requests and I go over to this house, and this was about 7 o'clock tonight. So I get over to the house, and so I'm like, I know I'm at the right address because the address wasn't very clear on the curb, but I figured it out. I can kind of tell because I don't think it was any number on the house. At least I didn't see. So there was no porch light on or no front door light on. So I noticed there was a light on in the kitchen. So I put on my hazard light and I contact the person and says, I'm here. And then I didn't call because Uber will let the person know that I'm there. But I always, once I get there, I'll always text, or either I'll call just to let them know that I'm there and make sure I have the right address. So I'm sitting there with my hazard lights on because it was in, I guess you call it cul-de-sac. So I'm looking at the house and I noticed somebody peek out of the kitchen window. And then they disappeared, and they peeked out the kitchen window and they disappeared. So they peeked and they looked for a while and then they disappeared. And I'm like, you know what? They didn't respond to my text. I am starting to drive off. I did not cancel the ride, because if I cancel it, I cancel at the very last moment if I have to. So I drove up the street slowly, and then I kept looking out my rear view mirror, and all of a sudden there were three men on the in the front of the house, and one was coming up the street following me with his hands thrown up in the air. So I make a U-turn and I go back, and he's on the driver's side talking to him through the window. And I said, are you waiting for an Uber? And he says, yeah. And I said, is it for you? No, I said, is someone waiting for Uber? He said, yeah. I said, is it for you? He says, yes. And then he went around and he went to get in the front seat, the passenger seat. And he said, I said, well, and what is your name? And so he gave me the correct name. And I says, okay. I says, I slide the bar at the bottom to accept his, to say that he's in my car, and to get the map or address to where I'm gonna take him. Well, the man, he took him a few seconds to open up the door, and when he got in, he had on no shoes. His shirt was inside out. His shirt was backwards. He had on shorts. So when he sat in the car, and like I said, I slid the bar and I said, there's no address to where you're going. And he says, I said, where are you going? By this time, I know that this man is drunk. Now it is still not even 7:30 at night. And he is so very drunk. I am like kind of scared that he may barf in my car. So, evidently, he hadn't had enough to drink, because I said, so where do you want to go? he looked, well, he never looked directly to me. He says, I want to go to the liquor store. I'm like, the liquor store? I says, okay, well, where's the liquor store? Because I don't know. I'm in a part of town I don't know. And so he directs me to the liquor store. Turn right here, turn left there, turn right here, and there's the liquor store. I says, okay. So I pull him up to the liquor store. I said, do you want me to sit here and take you back? And he says, yes. So he went to get out the car, and he's playing with the lock on the latch, the handle to get out. And I says, no, it's this part of the handle to pull it open. So he opens the door, and he steps out, and he closed the door. So he's not stumbling, but he's not walking straight. It's like he's like ready to pass out. So there were other people pulling up to the liquor store, and he went to pull the door open. The man was so weak where he couldn't even open up the door to get in the liquor store. So someone came in behind him and pulled the door for him, so he let him in. So I watched that man go. I watched the man go in and the man go behind him. And then there was a lady who came up with a stroller. She went in the store. And there was a man that parked on the street. He went in the store. And then I had guys on the side of me that I think two of those got out. 2 or 3 of them got out and went to the liquor store. There was a truck. Before the car came, there was a truck with a older man got out. And all these people went into the liquor store after the man I took to the liquor store. And they all purchased whatever they were going to purchase, and they all left. Now I'm like, well, where's the man at? So I'm like, I am not about to get out this car to go into the liquor store to see if he was all right or he passed out or what. So now all of these people that went into the store, now we have more people that's coming. And I say about maybe 5 more people went in. I'm like, you know what? He is taking too long. I am not going to go in that liquor store. So I went on and I ended his trip. Well, when I ended his trip, that is what I'm going to get paid from. Whatever that was, that's my pay. So as soon as I ended his trip, I started up the car and I was about to back out. The man was coming through the door, coming towards the car. He had a little paper bag in his hand. So I'm like, dang it, I ended the trip. So now from this time on, I'm not getting paid. But me being kind, he got back in the car. So now, when I go out the driveway of the liquor store, I already know I came from back this way, but I'm not from the neighborhood, so I figured the man know where he lived. So he said, make a right. So I'm like, okay. So by the time I made a 3rd turn, and we were going down the street, and it wasn't the street. I'm like, this is not the street. And so I made a U-turn, and so he said, oh, well, he said, oh, it's the next street over. I went through all that, none of those streets. Now, by this time, because I ended his ride, I got another request. So now I'm freaking out because this man is drunk in my car, and he evidently don't know where he lived, and I didn't have an address anymore. So, I was getting worried, and I told him, I'm like, okay, I was about to go up another set of streets, and all of a sudden I'm like smelling something kind of sweet. I looked over at him, and he's drinking his liquor. I'm like, oh no, you can't drink in here. And so he capped it up. He didn't say anything. Oh, and then I forgot to tell you guys. I told him to put on the seatbelt. He wouldn't put on the seatbelt. But anyway, let me get on with the story. So, the third time of our third set of streets we went up, we found where he belongs. So I pulled up. I'm happy. I'm waiting for him to jump out the car, and he is still sitting in my car. Like, my brain is going cuckoo, 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 because I got people that's waiting for me to pick them up. That's because right now I'm not making no money with you, dude, until I gotta go pick up these other people. So I looked over at him like, you can get out. And he said, okay. And he's screwing on his little bottle, little bottle of liquor, whatever he had. And he putting it down in his pocket, in his short pocket. And then he finally got out. So, also when I ended the trip, because I don't think he was the one that requested the trip, to go to the liquor store. I think somebody else did it. So I think the other people were worried when I ended the trip and he wasn't home. So of course everybody in the house was outside waiting, and I just like flew him in, but he was taking forever to get out. It's like I want to reach across, open the door, and tell him that, could you go? Because I got people that's waiting. So when I got to the other place, it was just like right around the corner. Now, if they were looking at their phone, they will see I was going all different ways and not even coming towards them, because I was probably like 3 minutes away from them. But they said when the other ones got in the car, there was 4 guys that got in the car. They said, I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. And I says, wait until you guys get in the car and I'm going to tell y'all the story. And when I started to tell them the story, I was trying to tell them about the man's shirt was inside out and backwards, and it's and that he was barefooted, and they were just laughing. And they said, "Oh yeah, you know, guy back there, he barefooted because it was 4 of them." And they said, "Well, you just traded in one for 4 of us. That's just the same as him." But yes, it was like, oh my gosh, wow. And all tonight I was having trouble with my Google Map. I had to basically take the address off of the Uber map and put the address into the Google Maps. So that is my short story for tonight. My first Uber life story. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And if I could say I love you, you can definitely love yourself. Bye.